She's back. Welcome back to the It's a No podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you say no to what doesn't serve you so that you can start saying yes to what does. I'm Jordan, and I'll be your host. I am so excited to be here back with you. If you're new here, hello, welcome. I'm all about boundaries. I'm all about truth. I'm all about spirituality. So that's what we'll be talking about here on my podcast slash channel. For those of you that have been here, oh, it feels so good to be back with you. Oh my God. The messages that I would receive from all of you, the messages that I still receive from you about, hey, I just set this boundary, or hey, I thought of your podcast. This podcast started in 2024. It also ended in 2024. I think I let out less than 10 episodes total. Really quick. New format. Obviously, I'm on YouTube now as well. So for those that can see me, hello. And for those that can only hear me, hi. Um, I'm gonna give a quick rundown. Like now that you can see me, I want to say the podcast. Oh, let me just say rundown of today, what's going to be different about this podcast moving forward. I also have a topic that I'm really excited to talk about, and it's real recognizes real and how being yourself and in line also setting those boundaries is quantum leaping. So that will be really excited to get, I'll be really excited to get into that with you. But just a few housekeeping notes because it's been a minute. I obviously stopped the podcast, stopped doing a lot, closed down my social media agency, got out of my 4-year relationship, went traveling to see the world, hit a rock bottom, and just came back. And it's kind of a full circle moment. I think that this podcast is was an initiation for me as well as for many of you. But now, like the spirit of the podcast is back, and I'm really excited to be sharing my voice and sharing with you what I know. So, a couple differences. I will now be on YouTube as well so that I can see you. I think I'm better at longer form content. I like it better. I think it's important that you can see me, and obviously I use my body, my hands a lot. And for those that that's not your platform, I'm still going to be on Spotify and Apple, which is exciting. I will be also looking at my notes. Um, so if you see me pausing or taking a second or looking down, it's just me looking at my notes. I'm very much here with you. I'm just realizing or realize that the editing of the podcast is not something that I enjoyed, and it was a lot of what kept me from recording. So if I had to pick not making my podcast because I want really cool edits or continuing on my podcast and making it a little bit more raw and real, I'm going to pick option number two. So that's exciting. Let's see. Yeah, I think it just feels more personal to me also. I want to be able to see you. I want to be able to connect with you. I selfishly am working on being seen. And so, yeah, hello, YouTube. Another change is I feel like in the last season, I really tried to come in as an authority. Lots of outlining, lots of structure, which I think was beautiful, but also I just want y'all to really, I feel like the best way for me to really give you what I'm trying to give you and what's trying to move through me is just to be real and honest and as raw as possible. I'll have some notes here and maybe that'll work for you. Maybe it won't. I'm really not trying to be, I've like broken out of the like, be an authority. This is how you show up as an authority, blah, 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 bullshit. I just want to be like human to human. This is what I know to the best of my knowledge, and I'm just going to share it with you. So the structure is going to be a little different. I'm probably going to be a little different. A lot of time has passed, and I hope that you enjoy it or maybe enjoy it even more than before. My intention with this podcast is I want to share my experiences and I want to share my wisdom. And with that, I hope that you take the approach of like either three things are going to happen. So first is that I inspire you to do something. I'm not really romantic around what that is. I just hope that this inspiration moves into action of some sort if you're feeling inspired by my words or my expression or what I have to share. Two, maybe it entertains you and you're just like, damn, that was a wild ass story. I have some crazy stories. I've taken a lot of risks in this life and they're fun to listen to. And then number three, um, 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 that's new. I'm gonna have to fix that. Three, it gives you something to respond to. So let's say that I share a story with you, or I share something and it's triggering, or it causes you to reflect, or it confuses you. I hope that in that, even if it's a rejection of something that I've said, that your response brings you more clarity. I don't care. Here's my biggest thing, and this is where I think that I'm the most misunderstood. I respect and am devoted to truth. I don't necessarily give a fuck what your truth is. I also don't care if you agree with my truth. All I care about is that it is authentic and true to you. So if I say something that you don't agree with, I'm okay with that and it brings me joy because then you are even more clear about yourself. For example, I say something and I'm like 10 toes down. This is what I believe in. And you're like, that's not what I believe in. I'm cheering. I can't like clap for you because for those of you that can see, I'm holding on to this microphone because I don't have a desk. For those of you that can't see this, yeah, I'm the stable support for this microphone and I'm hoping that it works. My intention is that when you get that clarity of like, no, that's not for me, clapping my hands for you, celebrating you, one more thing about yourself. I don't care. Again, I don't care what it is. And I think so many people have shared or projected onto me that I'm trying to say that this is how you do something. No, I'm just saying this is my best understanding, my best educated guess on this topic or this wisdom or this way of being. You please, full permission, not that you need my permission, but I'm going to give it to you. Just know that you have it. Please just be yourself. Please just be in your truth. Please take what I say with a grain of salt. I am a human being. You are also a human being. We're all humans doing our best out here. That's all I'm going to say on that rant over, but I just needed to get that out because there's there's so many people that I think that they're expecting me to think that they're a certain way or that they need to be a certain way around me. No. And that's part of the topic of what we're going to get into today. Today, that's not what this is about. Just be you. I would have so much more respect. There's some people in my life that are very triggering for me, and I don't have a lot of respect for them, and it's because they're just not honest. Point blank, period. I also hope that this like inspires you to start asking yourself questions. I pride myself on being a very good question asker and very good listener, very good at asking questions. And so in these episodes, you'll probably hear where I've asked myself a certain question, and I invite you to ask yourself that same question. Like, how did that make me feel? Or what was this to me? What do I think about this? Like, I'm all about self-inquiry. Please use my stories or my wisdom or my perspective and just get curious. I just ask, like, if I had to have an ask of you, I just ask that you stay curious. I am so curious constantly. I try to work from that space the best I can as often as I can. And I invite you to do the same, especially with these episodes and with what I'm sharing and with what I know. Ask yourself, do you believe this? How do you feel about this? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? It's just a fun game to play, and it just brings in a lot of, yeah, I guess play is the best word for it. Goal here, my goal is again to bring you back to yourself. Don't care if you agree with me, don't care if you disagree. I really hope that you just walk away feeling even like an eensy teensy little bit more clear around who you are, maybe what you want. So, now that I've caught you back up to speed, let's get into this week's episode. I think I'm gonna call it Real Recognizes Real. It's all about being yourself authentically and how that leads to quantum leaping. So, I believe this leads to a quantum leap, especially when it comes to like how I'm going to bring boundaries into this is when you're authentic and when you're real, you know yourself well enough to set boundaries and understand what you do and don't like. How you come to those boundaries is up to you, whether that's I'm more of like a experiential learner. I'm someone where I'll put myself in a situation and determine, ooh, that was a yes for me, that was a no for me. Maybe you're someone, and that's not across the board, that's a majority of my experiences. Maybe for you, you're someone who you can just ask yourself, would I like that or I know bad about myself? That's going to be a no for me. Doesn't really matter. What's important is that you've known yourself or know yourself or are getting to know yourself enough to stand in who you are as real and authentically as you can. And when you do that, why I believe this is like a quantum leap. I think it was like a TikTok that inspired this thought because she was talking about how, like, when you say no, you're just, or yes to whatever is in alignment, you're moving on to the next chapter. And so I'm going to take it a layer deeper. When there's something that's a no for you, and I'm not talking about when you don't have the clarity, I'm talking about when you do have the clarity of, well, for the example's sake, we'll say that it's a no for you, that the clarity is a no. When something's not a no for you and you know it, and you keep going into that situation or interacting with that energy or being in that dynamic, you already know that the what the result is, right? You're in a circle, you're in a pattern, and you're very aware of this is not something that I want in my life. This doesn't support my highest. It's a no for me. And you keep putting yourself in it. All you're doing is prolonging an experience. When you notice something right off the bat, this is a no for me, and then you pivot, you've just saved yourself so much time. That's the quantum leap. That's what I'm referring to is I could have, like, I'll use the example in dating because this was like fresher for me. Was talking to someone and I immediately was like, we're not in alignment with what we want. And so I just said no right off the bat. That was new for me to just say no. What I would have done in the past has been like, well, maybe they'll change, or maybe I'll change, or I'm just feeling so much energy here. I want to stay in this dynamic. I want to stay in that energy. And what was the result? The same result that I would have had, let's say 2, 3, 4 months prior, if I just would have listened to my no. I already knew where it was going. And so that's what I mean when I say that saying no and honoring your boundaries and being real and authentic is a quantum leap. Now I can get to the next thing. Okay, I've learned the lesson, I've broken the pattern, I've honored my boundary, and now I'm in a completely different state. I'm dating differently, I'm showing up differently. It's like I've progressed into a new identity. I'm no longer someone who stays in those dynamics, which has led me to a new self-concept, which has led to a new reality, which is a quantum leap. Okay, hoping that you're with me so far. So, why I got inspired by this topic was because, yeah, my recent dating experience, but I had this day where I went out. It was a day where I just gotten back from Arizona, one of the craziest weeks of my life. It was a week where, like, just to give you some context to how raw I was feeling, because I think that does play into the divinity of the evening. My sister was getting a surgery, so I was going to go take care of her. A family member I haven't talked to in over 10 years reached out and she's like, I want to see you. I want to talk to you. And she lives in Arizona. And so, what are the odds that I just bought my ticket to Arizona to take care of my sister after her surgery? I had a friend reach out to me that I haven't talked to in years to just basically try to like humble me and in a way like bully me. I'm not sure what her intention was, but the intention was not like pure connection. Had that happen, my best friend called me and his cousin, who was also a good friend of mine, um, passed away in a car accident, motorcycle accident. And the funeral was during the time that I was going to be in Arizona that I just bought my ticket to a couple hours before. It was just like some I had this crazy mushroom journey during the week, and I let go of a connection that I really wanted to stay. I had a closing conversation with another person. Like, this was all within 7 days. This was just an insane week for me. So I'm feeling super raw. Then I spent a week in Arizona. That's also very raw. There's a lot of grief. There's a lot of like hometown, family, all the things. So not to get too far off topic, but I felt like that was important because it just shows like how I was in such a surrendered state. We'll say that. Just so, when you're just like thing after thing after thing after thing. At that point, you're just like, you know what? You just become a little bit more open, a little bit more surrendered because what are you gonna do? Continuing to be super, super miserable. I was just so open to the universe and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And so then I get home and I'm back in Austin and I just remember feeling like I didn't want to go home. I just so much energy had just happened. I didn't want to go home and be in it. I just wanted to be in the world. I didn't, and I had no intention of meeting up with anybody. I didn't even care if I was by myself. And there's this little bar next to where I live and it's really cute. And so I went down there and I'm out there and then there's a guy that works there that I've met a couple times. He's older, he's cool, he's got a cool vibe. He's not from here, he's a foreigner. And I sit down to talk with him. I haven't really talked with him one on one. And so I was just sharing, my friend just passed away. I just got back from Arizona. It's just been an intense week. I didn't want to go home. And he's like, let me spoil you. Okay. I tell him I'll meet him out on the east side. So we go to the east side and we're just going. I'm at this point where I'm dressed really hot. I got compliments at the airport. I was getting compliments at this little bar. I was just feeling myself. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling raw. And I'm just like, life, you have me for tonight. Take me. And so then he takes me to the east side and we're just going, he's like, I don't wait in lines. And I said, okay, let's cool. And so he would just grab me by the hand, take me right into like past the line, go into a place, get us a free shot of tequila. We'd like check out the vibe. He'd show me around. He's like ready to go to the next one. So I'm not much of a drinker. This, I think it was like the last 2 or 3 months, I haven't drinking that much alcohol except for like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not an alcohol drinker. I'm back to not drinking alcohol, but it was a fun moment. It was just a fun little blip. I have no regrets. So I was in my tequila, wine, cigarette phase, let's say, after traveling, especially. I just kind of got into cigarettes a little bit. I'm not the biggest cigarette smoker, but just for context, like this was the energy. Smoking cigarettes, drinking wine, taking shots of tequila, skipping lines. I'm looking hot. It's East Side. Grab me by the hand, lead me around solely platonic experience, but just like a man just taking me out, guiding me around, and we're having a blast. We get to the last place, and he's already been drinking, so he's like, I'm feeling it. And we just sit down and I'm especially open, and we just have this beautiful conversation around authenticity and what it's like to just be so real in the world. And this is something that I've experienced a couple times with a couple people because when you are someone who I pride myself and I do my best to be as real and as an integrity as possible, as raw as I possibly can. Okay. And so when you come across someone else that's also in that energy, when you find that company, sometimes you can't help but talk about how you're both in this energy and you get to talk about your experiences and like what you've gotten to experience. And this isn't someone again necessarily that I knew that well, but you can just drop in deeply with this person because there's not a lot of walls to get around. There's not a lot of facades, there's not a lot of manipulation. It's just two humans that are like, oh, this is me. And you're like, yeah, and this is me. And when it's compatible, when those energies are compatible, it's a really special, cool moment. And you're both so present. Like I was able to be present, he was able to be present. And we just understood like this was just a cool moment in time, a cool night, no expectation. And we both spoke about no expectation, just having a night out. And it was so beautiful. And so as we're talking, I'm just feeling like I'm asking him when his heartbreak was. I'm reflecting on my past lovers. I call my like last year was kind of my year of lovers, if you will. And so I'm sharing about my experiences and I'm sharing vulnerably and he's sharing vulnerably and he's speaking about what he wants and I'm sharing my desires and it was just so beautiful. And in that, I felt like I was also quantum leaping in many aspects because the more you get to access your truth and shine in your truth and shine in your authenticity, you just glow. You become like a magnet. I felt magnetic. I felt my magnetism. I felt like aroused by myself. I was just like, ah, like I'm so cool. I love who I am. I'm being so real right now. It just like I hope that you feel that in glimpses, and even if it's for a moment, which that's a whole other podcast that I want to get into. So sidebar that, but it's just a beautiful moment. So I'm having this experience with this guy. He's like, I'm going home. I'm too drunk. I'm like, peace. I start walking down East Side. And for those of you that aren't in Austin, I'm on 6th Street on the East Side. And then I start walking into downtown. So it's kind of very two different vibes. And I'm drunk and I'm alone and I feel a little bit of a thrill. It feels a little dangerous. And again, I'm just feeling more alive and alive and alive. I'm looking cute. I'm walking and I know that my friend is working at this bar that has a Caribbean vibe to it. And so I go there and then a guy comes up to me. He's talking about I'm in these boots. And then he starts asking me, he says, your nails are really nice. I say, well, thank you. And he goes, do your toes match? I immediately know, for those of you that know me, know that I was a dominatrix. I still practice a little bit. And so I can spot this kind of a dynamic. Like that wasn't a hard tell, but I was like, okay, I see what this is. I was like, I'm a dominatrix. I hear what you're asking. And so he was like, I'd love to see your toes. What do they look like? I'm wearing boots. And so, like, I was just talking to him. He's like, hey, I would love to spoil you. I would love to send you money just to have a picture of your feet. My friend's working. And I said, I'll send you a picture of my toes. He's like, what do they look like? And what color are they? And I said, if you tip my friend tonight, I'll send you a picture of my toes. And I did. And so he tips her, she's working the bar. And we just had a conversation around like, he's like, these are the things I like. These are the things I don't like. These are the experiences that I've had in my life. And he's like, what's so cool is like, if it's for you, it's for you. And if it's not, it's not. I'm never going to change myself. And so it was just it led to this whole other conversation around it's either this, you're for me or you're not. And I'm going to stand in that. He's like, and he literally was like, nope, no issue if not. So detached, which allowed me to open up. It was just a cool experience. This other guy comes up to me at the club or bar. It's more of like a bar setting. And he's just like, you're so beautiful. I want to get coffee with you. And he comes up to me and he says, like, what are you looking for in a man? Right off the bat, which is really interesting. I don't really have I guess men have approached me more often now, the more magnetic I get, I assume. But for a man to approach me and to approach me with that clarity was very fascinating. But again, it was that same theme of just getting like quick to the point, just quick to what he wanted to talk about. And I said, I was to Rihanna, I said, I'm not looking for a man. And he's like, well, what would you, if you were looking for a man, or if you were open to a man coming into your space, tell me what that would be like. And I said, I'll ask you the same. And then he shared, it was just this very vulnerable, like, this is what I want in a woman. This is where I'm at in my life. This is what I'm desiring. What are you desiring in your life? Again, very fascinating to have a man lead with that. I liked his leadership and it was just really cool. And so he's like, I'd love to take you to coffee. And I agreed because again, that authenticity, that quick, like I appreciated how upfront and open he was and authentic he was, because that also could have saved me time. If a guy came to me in a different energy, I could have coffee with him and it could have turned out we want completely different things. So it was just so nice. We end up having coffee the next day. We're talking for hours. I ask him a very specific question, which please keep this one in your back pocket. I, because the date came to an end after that. And then I was like, I'm not interested, which is also cool because had I not been upfront and real about what I wanted, which I'll share this question in a moment, who knows how long I would have entertained this connection. But I'm in a place where I know what I want and I know who I want to spend my time with. And on this date, so we're having a great time. And then I don't remember what the question was before, but the question that changed the dynamic was, is there someone that would be surprised to know that you're here with me right now? The way his energy shifted. Whoa, now you're interrogating me. It looks like, look at the sun. The sun sets down. It's time to wrap this up. Whatever. That's a whole other story that I have no interest in. It doesn't excite me to speak about. But again, it was just like that quick, like, oh, this isn't for me, pivot. And I shared with him, he brought out all the like you're just scared, and he projected a lot of what he thought was happening in that situation when I just said this isn't for me. And I haven't talked to him since. And that's someone who I could have gone against my knowing and continued to see and continue to talk to, but I chose not to, and I'm really glad because who knows how much time I would have invested in this person. So all like bringing this all back to the point, it's that when you are so real and authentic in who you are, you become very magnetic. And then what's most important is that you start discerning in what is a yes and what is a no, because as this is all coming towards you, you get to decide like, oh, you're a yes, you're a yes, you're a no. Like out of those three men that approached me, only one still has contact with me based off of, and they're all so authentic and so real. And I respect that about all of them, but they weren't all it. And they could have easily all been still in my life, depending on who they were, or it would have just taken a longer process to unravel who they were, only to define or decide that they are not right for me as far as like being in my community or having connection with me. So, this brings me to the next point in how to tell if someone is being real. So, my first cue is I have strong discernment. I can just kind of feel it. And let this be permission that if you feel like something's off with someone or you feel like they're not being honest to you, please, or honest with you, please listen. Please listen. There's so many times when I've just been like the first, I've been the first to see it. I'll say it that way. There's so many people where I'm like, that's not a human for me. I'm not in alignment. I can see their intentions. I've seen how they move. That's not it. And I've had so many people try to convince me otherwise or say like, no, 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 no. Oh, 6 months later, a year later, whatever the case may be, they've revealed themselves. And I'm so glad that I listened. There were times when I didn't, but if you feel you can see someone like, oh, I've seen this pattern before, or my discernment or my intuition is telling me something about this person, please listen. Your body is so much smarter than you. Your spirit is very wise. Like, please, please listen. Another way to really tell if someone is real or be able to have that discernment is trying to be as neutral as you can to this person. There's so many times when I've, like the inverse of my last example, I've romanticized a human. I've had them come into my space and I start to see the potential of what they could be, or what I think that they should be, or what I would like them to be. And that has created it's like casted a veil over my perception of them. And so my discernment has been off, and I haven't been able to see them for who they really are, which has also prolonged a lot of decisions or boundaries being made because I'm holding out in this fantasy. And I'm sure you can relate to this. A lot of us are guilty of this, and it's okay. And it's something to strengthen. But when you can tell, the best way to see if someone's being real with you is also to give them that space, be super neutral. Even if you're like, this reminds me of someone, or I could see this for us. Once you start to fantasize, you leave reality, you leave the present moment. And one thing I know about quantum leaping is you can't get to where you're going unless you are where you are. Presence is a big part of the quantum leap. And so just not projecting anything on this person and just allowing them to be who they are. I mean, to our best extent, we are human. I can't say that I've ever looked at someone with no projection. I don't know that that's possible. I don't know that I've explored that thought process. But what I can say is I do my best not to, because the romanticizing this person has led to a shadow to where like I can't clearly see them and I can't see when they're being real, which means I can't on it's harder for me to honor my boundaries, and it delays the process of decision making for me. Another time that you can tell when someone is being real is that they're not trying to explain themselves to you or over explain. Let's say that they've said something that you don't agree with or that triggered you or made you be like, they're not reacting in a way that they're trying to backpedal or make sure that you're approving of them. They can stand in that uncomfortability or just stand in that energy, whether it's uncomfortable for them or not, of it's just this, it is what it is. Like that's how I feel, or this is who I am. To me, that is also a good signal that someone is being real with you. And what's also amazing about that is they're not really trying to they're open to explaining to help you better understand them, but they're not trying to convince. A lot of people that I've felt aren't real with me are trying to convince me that they are a certain way or that I need to change or whatever it is. Because when you're with people, and I talked about this before, when you're with someone who is sovereign in themselves, has liberated themselves. They're just kind of standing on their own. They're not really, they're so focused on just being as true to them as they can that they're wanting that for you. A lot of the time, I mean, I haven't come across someone who I felt was truly sovereign and devoted to themselves and like empowering themselves that has wanted other people to shift to be more like them. At least that's not my approach. I feel very liberated. I feel very sovereign. And the more that I go down this path, all I could wish is that you feel that same way and that other people feel that same way. Again, I don't care if it's the same expression as mine. I want you to feel this for yourself, whatever that looks like. And it's going to be unique to you. So I'm not going to try to like this whole podcast, the whole point of me like sharing with y'all is I'm not trying to make you more like me. I'm just trying to help you better understand what I'm feeling in hopes that it sparks a similar feeling in you because it feels good. I like it. And so yeah, they're very honest with you. They're not like I've had so many conversations too when I'm being real and authentic with people. I'm not scared to hurt your feelings. I'm not scared that you're going to disapprove of me. And that's something like I'm still human. I still work on, but for the most part, what I won't do is I'm not going to lie. If you ask me something, I'm going to be very honest with you. When I have clarity, I'm going to communicate that with you. I don't care if it makes you uncomfortable. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I'm devoted to being true and honest and honoring myself to the point that I'm going to be so real that whatever the outcome is, I just have like this deep trust in myself and the divine that it's all going to be okay. I'm okay with losing you. I'm okay with you walking away because, again, that means that we weren't in alignment. No harm, no foul. I've now quantum leaped and I'm now more surrounded by energy that is supported and supportive to my energy. Again, this concept of the more real you can be, the more authentic you can be, you're quantum leaping, okay? So, all not to say also just because someone's being real with you doesn't mean that they're right. You have to be okay with loss. When you're being real and authentic, you just have to be okay with loss. And as I say that, I just feel that land in my body and it almost like knocks the breath out of me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like there's a lot of loss that I've experienced by being real and true, especially because of where I started. I was such a people pleaser. I would bend over backwards for people. I so badly, like, and I still have wounds and roots to this that I'm uncovering. I so badly wanted to be chosen. I so badly wanted to be picked. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be seen so badly by other people. I was doing my best to mold myself in their vision. I'm like, how do you see me? How do you want to see me? How do you want me? I can be that for you. And so, yeah, I might have kept them close, but not in a way that felt real, not in a way that felt consistent, not in a way that felt sustainable, because it was an energy that wasn't true to me. So not only are they starting to discern and be like, is that really you? Is that really what you want? Is this true? Like I can start to see that. And so I'm trying to uphold this vision of, yeah, it's me. No, I'm becoming this. Like I'm trying my best. And again, the intention was not to deceive, to be malicious or manipulative. I just wanted to be seen and chosen and picked. And the more authentic and real, like where does that come from? That comes from you choosing yourself, seeing yourself, picking yourself. And the more you choose yourself, the more you see yourself, the more you pick yourself, the more your desire to be seen, picked, chosen by others goes away because you already feel that feeling If I'm not choosing myself, I'm looking to be chosen. If I'm not going to give it to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm not giving it to myself. Will you give it to me? Will you give it to me? And this can be echoed through so many different expressions. But for the sake of this topic, that's what I was experiencing is I just wanted so badly to be chosen. And now that I'm choosing myself, that has come with a lot of me being real and me being authentic and me being polarizing. Like it's no longer how do you see me? I want to be in your vision. I'm saying this is my vision. You're either with me or you're not. And because I came again from such like a different side of the spectrum, mixed with my intensity, I'm a very intense person. I have a pretty intense or denser energy. it it can repel and it has led to a lot of loss. I've lost a lot of friends because I was no longer to be small. Like I was no longer able or willing to mold myself to them, which they didn't like, or it just highlighted where we had our differences. Or I've tried dating certain people and my expression was maybe too grand for them and it broke the compatibility it's more of like a theme of being smaller and being moldable. When you are that type of person that is making yourself small and moldable, you also attract an energy that's compatible with that, which is someone who likes to make other people feel small and likes to mold other people so that they feel control or they feel bigger or they feel important or they feel valued or whatever the case may be. And so if you're someone who's on this journey of becoming and uncovering more of yourself, becoming stronger in who you are, you have to lose you will lose those dynamics, which means those people might not be able to adjust. They prefer to be the bigger fish or whatever that is. But you do gain a lot also. I've lost a lot, but I've gained the quality of people in my life has improved significantly because I know these people. I'm like, oh, you see me, and you're down for me. They're people that I no longer have to try to uphold a relationship with. Of course, you put effort into your relationships, but I'm not trying. The amount of energy I was putting into this facade to be seen, picked, chosen. Oh my God, like ugh, took so much energy. And now those relationships are there and they're stable and they're consistent and they're sustainable because I was with my by myself. And again, that's kind of pulls into the quantum leaping is now I am surrounded by community that is aligned and feels good because I was willing to say yes and no when it wasn't matching up. It's 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 just part of it though. You're gonna you're going to lose parts of your identity. You're going to lose parts of yourself or integrate parts of yourself. I've changed how my style looks. I've changed how I talk. Like I used to talk like really soft and kind of high and kind of soft. I don't know how to explain it. I can't even mimic it. Now I can feel my voice is deeper. I literally am a different human. And that came from being more real and authentic. I've quantum leaped into a completely different reality with a completely different expression and completely different intentions. It's beautiful. And like I said, you're going to experience a lot of loss, but also with these boundaries, you get a lot of clarity. The more real you are and the more authentic you are and the more you understand yourself, it's just a quick like, is this an alignment? No, yes. Is this an alignment? No, yes. Is this an alignment? And you're just making decisions. And when you're making decisions, you're taking action. When you're taking action, you're moving forward, which leads to the quantum leap, which is great. So, I feel like I've talked your ear off and I'm so excited to do it again. Honestly, I hope you gained something from this. Again, like just a little recap of today's episode. We talked about what's different around here, my invitations to you, my intentions for you. We talked about why boundaries can and are quantum leaps, how to recognize when someone is being real with you, how these might express themselves as quantum leaps, and just because someone is real with you doesn't mean they're right for you. This can be applied to environments as well. Take it as it resonates. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed having this conversation with me, please let me know that. My DMs are always open. Follow me to hear more. I'm here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify for It's a No for Me podcast, and on Instagram at Jordan J. Perry. I would just love to have you around. I'm really trying to build an awareness around more of these topics. I think it's so necessary. So until then, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.